So I thought I'd make this video here this morning. Um, there's all these things that I remember, and I haven't been able to make any of them to video before I forget them, which are crucially important. Hopefully, I remember some of this. But one of the things that I want to say is Hayley Spades, the famous porn star. You know, pearl skin, blonde, bleached blonde, almost like angelic white hair, very pretty face. When I was, I don't know how old I was. I'm gonna say I was somewhere around 5th or 6th grade, and I was walking to Richards. And when I was walking to Richards, right after I passed Goode Elementary, I can't remember the name of that street. I think it's called Keller Springs. I think because there's like Whitlock and Keller Springs, but I'm going to say it's Keller Springs. And once you pass that, the first street on the left, about 5 houses to the right, I remember looking over to my left as I was walking, and I saw, I don't know if it was a dream. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I feel very confident about this. And I remember seeing her, and the reason I say that I remember seeing her was because her hair color and her skin tone, and she was pretty in the face. I didn't get to get a front face look. I saw her from the side, but I remember seeing that she was very pretty. And I remember immediately, for some reason when I was a little kid, I used to be like, she's gonna be my wife one day. This is what my wife is gonna look like one day, or she's gonna be my wife one day. And I used to do that with a lot of different girls. When I was like in elementary school, I'd find the prettiest girl I could find, and I would do that. Like I was destined for some greatness with that. But I remember walking, and there was I don't know if she was getting into the car and she was kind of skipping or she was kind of tootling very quickly. And I want to say she wasn't wearing jeans. She was wearing like a dress, like a muumuu dress or something. And it was on a summer day, during the day, and she was like kind of walking down kind of scrolling quickly up the driveway, and she was getting into a car, and I think I saw like 1 or 2 adults. I might have seen another little kid, but I don't think I saw another kid, and it was just her, and she was getting into the car. Now, I don't know if this was her, and I really do believe that it was, because it was pretty far for me to be able to look. And I only saw her, I want to say, once, because the reason I remember is because I remember thinking to myself, wow, she's so pretty. So, when I was in elementary school, Goode Elementary, this is Hayley Spades, what I'm talking about, who I met at the porn convention in Las Vegas about 4 years ago. And I worked when I was 28 years old, after being raped by the transgender. There was a girl by the name of Hayley, but at this point I have no idea that Hayley Spades, Hayley right next door that works right there, that's her, the porn star. I just know that she looks familiar. Just because I see somebody that looks familiar, it doesn't mean I automatically know that it's them from over there. They just look familiar to me. I've seen them somewhere. I don't know. But I do recall that as soon as I said to one of the co-workers, I said, she looks familiar. She didn't work there anymore. She disappeared. And I remember she came into the print shop. It was called Sir Speedy. And she left. But I remember one of the cars that she was driving was a Camry, and a broken down old red Camry, looked like I had 100,000 miles on there. And I thought, I knew that this was not right, because girls like that do not drive crap cars. There's too many people that want to give them money and want to ensure them a promising life. So, and it may not be straight men. It'll be a bunch of homosexuals to give them men to then sell them. So, because that's what the gays do. They get the women because they feel insecure, or to give them more of a momentum of selection, and they want to make, because homosexuals are very racist, and so what they do is they give them money so they can then profit off the exchange of selling them off to someone else, to whatever profitable gain they want. But with the intentions, it's not for the selection they want. It is much of it for selling them for an exchange. But I knew immediately when she was driving, I said, that has to be a lie. But I remember I went out there and I went to the garage and I saw her one day. And she was just there and she was talking to an older lady, I think, I remember, and then just walked out and then left. But I didn't remember who she was. I couldn't really put together who she was. But anyway, Hayley Spades, when I went to, the reason I say this is because at Goode Elementary, I grew up going to Richard Murphy's house, and for whoever was watching these videos, John Murphy and Danielle Murphy and Michael Rossiter, which they all grew up in the same house. Richard Murphy, me and him became best friends, really good friends, when I was in 6th grade. And he invited me and wanted me to come over with him and spend the night and play video games and be kids. I had just turned 13. It was like 5 months after my dad committed suicide. And he asked me, I was, constantly, hey, come over, I want you to come over, we're going to play video games. Richard and John are over, and I don't know who these guys, and that's how I met John, and Anthony, who went to a different school. But anyway, I recall being, being around Danielle. Danielle Murphy had bleach blonde hair, and she was the only girl in the entire Goode Elementary that had hair color like that. Especially, not just blonde, but I'm talking like bleach blonde natural hair. Excuse me. And so she was the only girl that had that. And there may have been some other ones that had close color, but she really stood out because you could see the only girl that had white hair. When it wasn't even blonde, it was like white hair. Like, you ever see an old lady that has, like, when she has natural blonde hair, it turns white. It turns like a gray to then a white hair. Well, that's what Danielle had, like an old lady hair. And when I grew up, I understood how the functions of what I liked, what I didn't like. And I remember, dating Ashley Ingle, who was a blonde girl. I was in 3rd grade, and I was, and she was a bleach blonde hair girl as well. And there wasn't very many blonde girls like that in school. So when I got to 5th or 6th grade, I remember seeing this girl. And by this time, I knew it wasn't Danielle. I want to say I remember Hayley Spades. She went to Goode Elementary. And the reason I remember this, or I think I remember this, is because I remember seeing this girl, and I remember thinking she had even bleacher blonder hair than Danielle. She had almost the exact same type of natural hair, but she was blonder. And one of the things that caught me more than anything is that she looked prettier in the face. And I remember vividly thinking to myself, I said, wow, this girl's even prettier in her face. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm too old. And I was like, dang, I'm too old. She's very, I said, dang, she's too many grades younger than me. Because I remember when I was in 5th or 6th grade, this girl I remember was like in 2nd grade. Maybe 3rd grade at the latest, at the oldest. But I want to say she was like in 2nd grade, maybe 1st grade. But I remember looking at her face, and she had a very bright smile, like the way that she does. Like when you see her on camera, you could tell that somebody was always trying to keep her happy. You can always tell people were always pleasant. Like people were always trying to please her and make sure that she always had a smile, like all the time in her life. And I remember just looking at her, and I said, "Wow." I remember very vividly looked in her face, and she was really pretty. Like I thought, man, this girl's prettier, way prettier than Danielle. I was like, not that I wasn't ever attracted to Danielle for any kind of reason, because she was just more like family to me. She was just Richard's sister. That's how I saw it. There was nothing there. But I recall thinking to myself, I was like, oh wow, this girl's so pretty, because she was like the prettiest girl in the school. Like her face, like the structure, the alignment in her face, her smile, her eyes, how she was built. I was like, wow, this girl's really pretty. And I remember just thinking that in school. Now I could be wrong, maybe it wasn't her, but I want to say like a 90% it was her. Maybe it wasn't, maybe it could have been someone else, or it could have been something mixed up. But you can ask her. She didn't see me. I don't think she did. I was the only kid in school that had a mustache in the entire 600 students. When I was like in 5th grade, I had a mustache, and I was like, 8 years old, 7 years old. So I just know that this I remember seeing Hayley spades. So I thought I'd make a video on that. It'd be, earthquake shaking to know that if turns out it was Hayley Spades, who is the famous porn star who got into the porn industry, and she lived right down the street from me. I never saw her that I could ever recall walking, because you don't understand how often I used to walk there. It was such a frequent basis. I knew the remote area extremely well and who I came across. I'm pretty sure that, I don't think she lived there for a very long time, or it was just the timing. I don't know. But I remember walking. I don't ever remember seeing her in a car or anything. I just saw her that like one or two times. My ears are ringing right now. Look, there's a clog. They shot some sort of electronic device at me.